Well, it was a slow holiday session where oil did take off, but stocks stumbled right out the gate to the very end. Earnings results were mixed this morning for retailers, but because most of your smaller names missed. But those large names, well, they continued to beat, and they seem to be positioning themselves to survive in the world of Amazon, which, by the way, that stock closed at another all-time high. It was another great sign for consumers also that the University of Michigan Consumer Confidence Reading beat the street, and it's holding near a 13-year high. And the key nugget there from this survey is where they talk about the expected gain of 2.7% in real consumption expenditures next year. That is the best run-up to a holiday shopping season in more than 10 years. So the consumer, in my mind, is back. Also back, Deere. They had their earnings out today. I got to tell you something. They revealed there are huge opportunities for investors with farming, the American farm. I'm working on a special report for you. Make sure you go to my site over the next 2 days, wstreet.com. I'm going to have 4 stocks to take advantage of the growing farm industry in this country. Meanwhile, tonight there is a major debate over the FCC's decision on net neutrality. Folks like Jillian Assange and Kim.com are saying that globalists have won over the consumer. So tonight, here's the question. What exactly is internet freedom? Back with us now, Kevin Paul Scott, also here at Wall Street Journal editorial page writer Jillian Melchior. Jillian, net neutrality, are you glad that the government is stepping back and sort of letting the market take care of themselves, or is this such a big deal that we need some government intervention, just like the highway system or anything else this size?
This is a really good step. So I think when we're talking about net neutrality, one thing to get out of the way is it's kind of an Orwellian term. We're not talking about neutrality. We're talking about government regulation of the internet. That's what net neutrality in the way that it's being used means. So this only went into effect in 2015. I don't think that for the decades before that, the internet was this terrible Wild West where there were abusive practices and consumers didn't benefit. Obviously, they benefited. But you're seeing, since the government got involved, decreases in investment in broadband network infrastructure. That's not great because we do want people pouring money into this. We want a competitive, thriving internet environment.
Right. Kevin, some folks are saying, though, that the rich big companies are going to dominate, and the small companies will always be stuck in the slow lane.
Yeah, I'm divided on this, Charles, because as a conservative, I'm definitely for less government regulation. The challenge is keeping the playing field level in this environment. It's making sure that certain internet service providers aren't charging high premiums to try to weed out the competition or to help them in a disproportionate way. So I think the debate over the next couple of weeks, this proposal from the chairman to the FCC, is going to be interesting to see how this plays out, both within the FCC and in the court of public opinion. Right. The argument right now, I think, is going to put a lot of pressure on them not to roll back these regulations. Oh, boy, we'll see. Also, big news this week is Uber. Let's face it, they swept under the rug, at least tried to, a massive hack attack exposing the personal information of over 50 million customers around the world. It continues to rock customers and investors. Management was able to pay off ransomware, this ransomware thing, $100,000. But I got to tell you, security and ethical questions remain. And it's not just Uber. According to Kaspersky research, in the first quarter of this year, consumers got hit with ransomware every 10 seconds. That was up from 20 seconds just a year ago. And companies, individual companies, got hit with ransomware demands every 40 seconds from every 2 minutes a year ago. Healthcare, manufacturing, financial services, all top targets. In fact, some recent examples. Earlier this year, $17,000 paid by Hollywood Presbyterian Medical Center, $28,000 by the Los Angeles Valley College. And so here's the thing. I say these hacks obviously are shameful, but they're the results, in my mind, of corporations willing to put our information at risk to ransom because it's a lot cheaper than taking and investing in real safeguards. Jillian, what are your thoughts on that?
Well, I do think that they pay huge PR consequences when something like this happens. And I'll also note,
but we don't stop using Uber. We didn't stop going to Target. We never stopped doing that stuff. And they've kind of done the calculations. Do I spend $10 million on a really top-to-bottom security system, or do I pay an occasional hacker $100,000?
Sure, and that's why the Equifax hack was particularly disturbing, because that's not an area where consumers can assert market influence. But I'm also going to point out SEC has been hacked. We found out about all of these government hacks that have been happening as well. So I think the problem is we need to be investing more in cybersecurity because the hackers are winning the battle right now.
Kevin, they're winning the battle in part because it seems not a quid pro quo, but a symbiotic relationship. If you don't ask me for too much money, you can hack me occasionally, and we've got you make a little dough, and I don't have to fork out a bunch of dough.
Yeah, it definitely doesn't seem like a really good system. But what you hit on earlier, Charles, is exactly right. If consumers really want to get serious and force companies to take care of these hacks, they've got to start voting with their wallets. And they've got to start saying, and I know it's tough for some companies, but if you're not going to protect our information, we're going to stop doing business with you. And with the onslaught, if you add this on to the other issues for Uber, I think at some point it does start to affect them.
Right.
And maybe that'll make other companies take this more seriously.
I think Lyft has started to take market share. They've made management changes there, but to your point that we have become somewhat not accustomed or just too, we don't get outraged enough to move with our wallets. Hey guys, have a great
100%.
Thanksgiving.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.